Shamarie, what's up, man?
Yo, I'm good, man. What's up? What's up?
You're good?
Yeah,
How's your day been?
it's good so far. I can't complain.
You had a cannabis event in Bushwick?
Yeah. So a friend of mine, Dr. Maurice Hinton, he invited me out to a cannabis event that he was one of the panelists, one of the key speakers of. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you had another event or interview regarding being in the restaurant industry?
Yeah, that's happening a bit later. Just people just wanted to kind of hear my story because I used to work with this workers union called Restaurant Opportunity Center of New York, and they're fighting for workers' rights right now, and they want to know and hear testimonials from people who successfully use their platform and their resources to become successful in the restaurant and hospitality industry. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So we'll get into that a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to introduce you right now, everybody. This is my friend Shamarie. I met Shamarie at a wine bar called Temperance in the West Village.
Yeah.
And pretty much me and him hit it off right away because what I realized is Shamarie is literally me just in another body. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we have very similar personalities.
Yes.
We do a lot of the same things.
Yes.
And it's been a pleasure meeting you and becoming close with you.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have you on.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a fellow bred New Yorker.
Yes.
Right? So I want to start with that. You grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, Flatbush, between Flatbush and Crown Heights, but Flatbush is where I spent most of my life, sort of growing up. Yeah. So
what was it like growing up in Flatbush?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of. So here's the thing, So I'm gonna let loose because you see the Chardonnay in my hand. This Bedford Chardonnay is amazing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it has that butteriness I'm looking for right now. But
yes, we'll get into the wine soon.
Okay, yeah. This is really kicking it right now. So my background, I'm a Jamaican American. So I was born in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, to Jamaican parents. Spent the earlier part of my life in Crown Heights. Which is an amazing upbringing, the diverse sort of community, and then somewhere during my teens, got into got into Flatbush. So Flatbush back in those days was really unique. It was a unique community. It's a Caribbean enclave, mostly Haitians. You have a lot of Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Guyanese, and these things. So growing up, I would always, when my grandmother was alive, I would go to Jamaica. And Jamaica's where most of my roots are, right? So what I saw was that the two communities, both Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica specifically, and Flatbush are kind of similar in the sense that they both exude this Caribbean vibe. I mean, it's essentially the same people, just kind of transported and taken, sort of uprooted and taken here. So it felt like home more so than anything. Hence the reason why I'm still in Flatbush.
Okay.
Because it has that rootsy home-like feel to me. You know what I mean? But just growing up, a lot of transitions. I mean, any New York City community goes through transitions over the years. If you could imagine, we went through different mayors. We went through, different, financial situations. The city is an organic, living, breathing thing. What's happening now in Flatbush is kind of unique because you have a nice flow of new energy. And when I say energy, I'm talking about people from, let's say, other states coming in and wanting to be a part of the tapestry. See, there's folks I know from the Midwest, from even the West Coast, if you're talking about Washington State, that's coming in, have never been really exposed to Caribbean communities, nor even other communities too. And they're wanting to I guess enjoy and be part and parcel and sort of integrate with the local community, and that's kind of cool to see. New ideas being melded with some of the more older traditions, like the Caribbean traditions, and adjacent to there's
these people are coming from everywhere.
Everywhere, man. Everywhere.
That's cool.
Yeah, mostly United States, but mostly everywhere, and it's cool, man. There's a lot new restaurants and stuff like this.
So. Speaking on restaurants, if someone might be new to the area of Flatbush, what might be a few places that they could try, or some what are cool spots in Flatbush worth checking out?
Yeah, so there's Lips Cafe.
Lips Cafe.
Yeah, Lips Cafe. It's on Nostrand Avenue and Church, somewhere thereabout. Right across the street from it is Anton. So let me just double back. Lips Cafe is kind of cool. It's a cool coffee coffee spot, and at nighttime it turns into like a hip hoppy, vibe. If I can say that, you know what I mean?
Like a party almost?
Yeah, like a light party.
Yeah.
It's like the pregame to a party.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's also like the who's in the community, like movers and shakers. It could be designers. It could be musicians, up and coming artists. A lot of them tend to kind of, that's their go-to spot. In a sense, you know what I mean?
Lips Cafe.
Lips Cafe. Yeah, and then across the street, there's a place called Aunt and Uncle's. It's spelled like a French style, Aunt and Uncle's. And so what that is a plant-based, Caribbean-inspired restaurant.
Okay.
Now, if I were to, do a comparison between the two, Lips Cafe is more or less like early 2000s Ludacris kind of name some of the hip hop artists from back in the early 2000s, like that kind of vibe. Little John, but
50 Cent.
50 Cent, yeah, it has, and it's sophisticated, like elevated, like 50 Cent, like you could see like folks are like informed about like hip hop and things like this. Whereas Aunts and Uncles plant-based. It's a plant-based Caribbean-inspired spot. It reminds me of, let's say, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, more like more like
That's
an
a different
R&B,
vibe. Yeah,
more like an R&B sort of a vibe. So the two work in tandem, but it depends on what kind of vibe you're looking for. You know what I mean? So those two spots right off the rip are some go-to spots if you just want to sort of kick off the Flatbush.
That's awesome.
Vibe. Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. You mentioned going to Jamaica a lot. Mm-hmm. What was that like growing up?
At the time, it didn't feel like anything.
Now you appreciate it more?
I appreciate it way more.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The reason is because, again, growing up, like sonically, you hear people who speak Jamaican patois, Jamaican Creole, right?
Right.
Which is a language unto itself. And then you go to school here in the U.S. and you hear people speak like more of a standard American English. So you kind of get used to that growing up. You go home, you speak, patois, Jamaican, like this is what Sean Paul would sound like, or your Beanie Man, or these kind of people. Bob Marley spoke patois, right? Mm-hmm. But then going to Jamaica now, I didn't really feel disconnected. I felt like I was more pulled into the root of it all, if that makes sense. It brought me back to, every time I would go to Jamaica, it would always bring me back to a place of like centeredness, like Zen in a way.
Okay. Is that just the vibe of Jamaica? I haven't been there, but I've been wanting to go.
Jamaica is a very interesting place. And the reason why I say that is because it's like a diamond in the sense that it's multifaceted, right? So some folks, they feel as though, the resorts are not the really real Jamaica. And then some people say, you need to go to like the Garrison. The Garrison is the equivalent of the hood.
Okay.
Or like a really, financially challenged place,
Yeah,
right?
I understand. The Garrison is one particular spot, or is that just what they call any hood?
For the most part, any hood.
Any hood is considered the Garrison.
Considered a garrison, but most of the garrisons, the true garrisons, are in Kingston.
Okay.
This is like, for instance, where Bob Marley grew up, Trenchtown. That's a garrison.
Right.
With my family, we're originally from Mandeville, which is the west side of Jamaica.
Okay.
That's the equivalent of like saying Florida. It's sort of where all folks who worked in the United States, Canada, and the UK is their retiring zone.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So you find that place is a little bit more calmer, right?
Okay.
My family back in the 70s left Mandeville. My grandfather particularly left Mandeville. Sold a lot of the land that we had, and we still have land there, but he sold a lot to the bauxite company. So bauxite is like the base mineral to make foil paper. He sold a lot of it to the aluminum company, and then moved the family to Tivoli Gardens.
Okay.
That
sounds nice.
Yeah, Tivoli Gardens, it sounds nice. It's one of the garrisons.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, that's sort of, I want to say adjacent, but let's just say close to Trenchtown.
Trenchtown.
Right.
Okay, that sounds.
So during that time, it was an interesting time back in Jamaica those times, because you had, I don't want to get into the political leaders and things like this, but my grandfather and family were sort of close to some of the political leaders, and my grandfather was contracted to help build a lot of the buildings and so on, because he was a carpenter and all these kind of things. So and they were given a house, and family was a working family, entrepreneurs, things like this. But over time, it sort of dilapidated because of just political circumstances in Jamaica and things like that happened during the 80s. So family left, came to the U.S., and sort of created a branch of the family out here. So going to Jamaica now, I forget the original question, but going to Jamaica, I would always feel like a sense of centeredness. And also, that's just one facet of Jamaica that I mentioned to you, like the garrison stuff. Right. It's really hardcore. See, when people talk about gangsters and stuff like that here in the United States, especially in Brooklyn, it doesn't frighten me, because real gangsters don't really talk. I mean, the kind of gangsterism that you'd see in Jamaica, it's hardcore. Like, people don't... Yeah. If something is happening, you don't really mention it. In fact, that's not for that's a business unto itself. It could be the drug trade. It could be and that's a business. I mean, that's governmental things. All of them are all involved, in that kind of stuff. Yeah. If you're not that, don't pretend. Stick to school. Stay on the honor roll. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. That's just one facet. Then you have like the tourism side, which I've been to a lot of tourist sites in Jamaica. Beautiful. Beautiful. I encourage anyone. When you come to Jamaica, just enjoy it.
Any specific spots?
There's this place in Lucy, Jamaica. It's not really. It's spelled Lucea. Lucy, Jamaica is on more on the west side, near, let's say, Montego Bay. There's a resort called Grand Palladium. The Grand Palladium. It's a nice one. Why I say this is because that area of Jamaica is not as populated as, let's say, a Montego Bay or Ochi or Ocho Rio. It's not like that. It's like an in-between, I would say. And you could get to sense some of what quote-unquote folks would say locals. You get more, you get more contact.
What are you going to see there? Is it by the water or...
Definitely by the water.
Okay.
Definitely by the water.
So it's by the water, yeah.
Yeah, definitely by the water. It's on the north coast. So a lot of Jamaica's resorts are on the north coast. You have some on the south as well, but the north coast is a little bit more scenic. There's more roads, so you get the opportunity to see a lot of stuff. So, Lucy is cool. Yeah, Lucy is dope, man. It's not too overly developed. It's fucking dope, man. And you see a lot of goats running up and down.
Oh, that's awesome.
Should try some curry goat. Curry goat is good. If you ever get the chance, you go out there. It's really fresh. It's not GMO pumped up.
Okay. I love to hear that, with my diet and everything. Yeah, that's cool. Anything else regarding Jamaica worth seeing or maybe worth eating?
Here's the thing. Here in New York, you see a lot of food carts and so on and so forth. Jamaica, there's a lot of that, but instead of it being, let's say, the panoramic kind of style. I mean, what I mean panoramic, you have a taco truck here, which is Mexican food, and then you have a Greek pita truck. Then you have all these different things here. Whereas in Jamaica, you more frequently see a jerk chicken barrel. So what folks do in Jamaica, they use the oil barrels and they repurpose it and cut it and turn it into a barbecue sort of a situation. Oh, right. And you find out every mile. Yeah. Every mile you drive, you see a person with
one of those barrels cooking chicken.
I was like, what the hell? The thing is, the chicken that they're using, of course, I mean, this goes without saying, it's not GMO pumped. I mean, this is fresh chicken that's running up and down. Even goats sometimes and things of this nature. And people are friendly. People are, it's a vibe. People want to connect. Going back to what we were saying, Zen, it's about humanity when you're in Jamaica. People really want to know your story. They want to be a part of the story. Also involve you with their family life too, in the sense of, sharing. Okay, this used to be this back then. This is where it is now. This is where we're going. And people are very helpful. So the jerk chicken barrels, yes, definitely get those. What else can I say? I mean, there's a lot of even home. This is the thing, you can't starve in Jamaica. You cannot starve. Yeah. And what I mean by that is that if you meet a stranger, they're gonna invite you to their house.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, you gotta have dinner with us, even if it's, and do not say no. Just say yes and just enjoy the food. And it's not like I'm gonna feed you. You owe me. It's not that in Jamaica.
Okay.
Everything is.
Everybody just wants to feed everybody.
And let's
That's
just vibe,
awesome.
have a good time. I mean, folks. I mean, because here's the thing, the New York City vibe, and I'm kind of
just comparing the two. You're noticing
the New York City vibe. You'll find more like in Kingston, which is like the capital, right? So you find that kind of high energy, like kind of hustle bustle kind of a thing. And then the suburb to Kingston is Portmore. That's like saying Kingston is like saying Manhattan. Portmore is like saying Queens, Long Island. Okay. So a lot of people, the workers that work in Kingston, they live out in the suburbs, right?
Portmore.
In Portmore. So like that exists. So I don't want to give the impression that everyone is just laid back. You do have this high energy kind of a thing going on, but at the same time, what's integrated in the whole society itself is that everything is going to be okay, and we shouldn't suffer, and we don't live to work. We live to live. You live to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You live to live. Like what are we doing when it all comes down to it? Like, what are we really doing? And that is like, I think, the basis of like all human. And you can kind of see that through like how the mannerisms of Jamaicans, like how we all are. We're like, ultimately things are gonna work itself out.
Right.
We want.
It's that calming energy.
Yes.
Yeah. Reason why I must visit, because I'm always, and you know me, I'm always like kind of working at things. So
yes.
Kind of getting a break and realizing that that's not what it's all about. That's nice. Is that what you felt like with your grandmother, like when you were out there, or was it like not as noticeable until you got older?
No, I felt that 100%.
Yeah.
I felt it. And that's why, my mother, I love everyone loves their mom, right? My mother had me at a relatively young age, and my grandmother, I would say, was also too like a mother figure in my life. So much so that when people would ask, they'd be like, "Where is Shamarie?" And then people would joke and say, "Hey, you could find him under Mrs. Mac, because her last name is McDonald." Mm-hmm. Under Mrs. Mac's gown, like underneath her long gown, holding her leg, because I would always be around her. So she was like a calming energy, and she sort of reflected that whole vibe of Jamaica. So like, I guess when I would go with her, it didn't feel as though I was like in a different place. I just felt like maybe that's why Jamaica reminds me of home, because grandma, like it's all that same sort of energy. Yeah, I miss her a lot. She passed away some time ago. But yeah, so that's that. But yeah, Jamaica is cool. So then some of that you see in Flatbush,
right,
Brooklyn,
right,
more of the Kingstonian side. It's really hustle bustle, because we're in New York City, so I see it. But then again, when I meet, let's say, a Caribbean person or a Jamaican person, and they're given, let's say, an attitude or being, I know where it's coming from. Ultimately, we all want to get to the next level, because Jamaica has a very aggressive, let's get to the next level, don't stop until we're number one kind of mentality in a positive way. You see that through sports, you see that through like entertainment, you see that through even like business and like how things are conducted in Jamaica. Like we're not gonna put our name on anything. If we are gonna put our name on something, we want to make sure that we're working hard and that we leave a good name, because we're only 3 million people, Jamaicans. We don't want to leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth, because we're only 3 million. We don't want to mess it up for our family and friends.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, you're growing up in Flatbush and your Jamaican background. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me more about what was next? So you grew up, you finished high school. I know you went to Binghamton.
Beer Cats, let's go.
Beer Cats.
All my Beer Cats out there.
Yes, sir. I know that gets you excited. Yes. I remember you were like, Binghamton is the shit.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience. Why'd you like it so much? What'd you study there? What was your time like at Binghamton?
So here's the thing. Like, so Binghamton now, people call it the West Bubble Fuck or some shit like this. This is the first time I heard that term when I was out there. You have to keep in mind that, growing up in Brooklyn,
Yeah, people don't go out there.
Yeah, we don't go out there, that kind of thing. But the truth is, like, I'm gonna go into my high school history a little bit.
Okay, sure, yeah,
so
sure.
I went to Clarbarton High School, right? And I wanted to go into the medical profession or the health professions.
Okay.
Because that's just what Caribbean people do. You know, you either lawyer, doctor, like you got to kind of work on those things. Because we came here from wherever we came from. And you got to get, you know.
Yeah.
So my family were like, okay, well, become
a doctor.
The doctor,
Yeah.
like, you know, maybe like a, you know, maybe a high level nurse, something like this, like figure it out. No pressure, but pressure, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And went to Carbarn High School for health professions. That school, funny enough, has like a lot of Haitians and Caribbean people. My sister went there. Yeah, it was just like, okay, well, great. And I was following her footsteps. All right, so midway through my high school career, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I want to do maybe something law or something. So I just took regular standard courses. But I was also failing my classes because I'll throw this in there. I stopped studying. I stopped pretty much I would be in class, but I would just play around and socialize. So I was put in like sort of remedial classes. And
you got into Binghamton.
So here's the thing. One of my teachers, her name is Miss Carrie Ann Smith. She noticed in the English class that I was levels above everyone else. But I always try to hide it, like by not reading, or like purposely making mistakes to make it not seem like, you know what I mean? So I could be cool with everyone else. She was like, you don't belong here. She actually took me to the assistant principal and asked for me to get switched out to advanced placement English.
Wow.
Yeah. She said that he's playing around. He's not being academically challenged, hence the reason why he's not performing. He just wants to play around. And the truth is, yeah, because the school was 85% at the time, 85% girls. And there's just an abundance of girls. So they just play around and it's just, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a teenager at that time, guys. Teenager. And she was like, you can't keep playing around with these girls because come on, man. You're in an art class.
Wow, 80%, huh?
Right. You know, art class, you have like, you know, a class of 20 and then there's maybe like 3 or 4 guys sometimes in a class. And the rest are women. So like you lose focus. So she demanded that all my courses in my junior year, which is like the third year, I think that's how it works in high school. The third year, all my classes be, she said, if you're not going to do medical or anything with that, take all AP courses. I took AP US History, took AP, everything AP.
Wow.
And that set me up for the Binghamton route.
Right.
And why? Because she was an alumni from Binghamton. And she was like, you got to come to my school. I was like, I don't want to go. What is a Birmingham? What is a Birmingham? And I was like, if that's school, I was like, here's the thing. Because I know she likes like academic excellence. So I was like, if that school is not going to academically challenge me, I don't want to go. I'd rather go to Brooklyn College or I'll go to City College. Because I like the diversity of City College. It was like the most diverse school at that time. Talking about like, you know, racially, socioeconomic background. That stuff was exciting to me. So I was like, that's why I'm going to go there. She was like, no, you're not. I said, what do you mean? She said, Binghamton is one of the, like academically challenging school. I was like, all right. I read, researched, and she was right. So then I eventually went there. And I wrote a letter to Binghamton to explain why I was fucking up. Can I curse here?
Yeah, I already did.
Yeah, all right. So why I was fucking up the first half and then how all of a sudden I did this big transition. Of course, you got to explain like what the fuck happened. And then she wrote a letter also too, and then it helped me out. So Binghamton, again, like the whole area is very scenic, beautiful. Of course, But
what fires you up about Binghamton? Like you get fired up about it.
It's some of my best times out there. Some of the best people I met like were in Binghamton, and like a lot of events happened. A lot of personal growth.
Right.
It allowed for time in the wilderness. I grew up too. Like when in grade school, I would go to camp. There was this camp. I don't know if it's still like Camp Shiloh. I would go during the summer times. And it was good because we were outside learning how to like fend for ourselves and no fucking radio, no TVs, no nothing. We just be out in the wilderness. And I love that sort of like contact with
nature.
You know what I mean? And again, like sort of maybe that Zen. Maybe it was reminiscent of, you know, Jamaica in a sense, because you're in contact with, and you got to humanize, you got to be with people. So Binghamton, I saw that. It reminded me of like just growing up in like Jamaica and then also my camp experiences. So I'm like, okay, but I could live out here. Whereas my peers, they'll be like, oh, this West Bumblefuck place, I can't figure it out. Da, da, da. We don't have, I'm like, you can figure it out. It's not that bad. It's still like a city. We're still in New York. You know, you just got to figure it out. And also I had a lot of transforming experiences out there with people, also with myself. Just being in contact with yourself. Sometimes it could be, I'll disclose this a little bit. I'll disclose this. Like anxiety was a thing that I experienced. I guess I could say experience. I wouldn't say suffer from, but experience. And it put me in a position where, I really had to do some like deep self-searching, to, come up with answers and things like this. So it put me and I had a really great support system. Some highly intellectual folks that like challenged challenged me intellectually. Also, too, people who were just like, it could be goofballs, but then there's a genius in that too. So there's a whole plethora of different people that I was around, and it really like helped build me. And like everyone was so like I don't know, man. Everyone in Binghamton always had like this. And I'm not saying it to plug. If you don't want to go to Binghamton, it's okay. but everyone had this like sort of entrepreneurial kind of vibe to them. Like if they were not trying to think about making the next Facebook, because Facebook is what kicked off at the time I was in college.
Oh wow.
Everyone wanted to like create something. There's this creative. Like everyone was on this. Or if they're not gonna be the best lawyer in New York, or they always had that vibe, that vibe and verve. And I'm like, that's what I like a lot about it. No one was like a slacker. And I thank Miss Carrie Ann Smith for introducing me to Binghamton in that sense, because she understood like that was a part of my DNA, you know.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. I could feel the energy.
Yeah.
That's dope. So Binghamton shaped you, and now you do a lot of sales. We're going to get into all your career, but I love to talk about the wine. We're going to probably wrap up with that. You ended up at Primerica, right? Was that your first job out of school?
Okay, wow, this is a very interesting. So I'll touch on it because I didn't touch on it before. While I was in Binghamton, I studied sociology.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I could see that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So here's the thing. High school, I mentioned that, I was like, I don't want to do medical. I want to do maybe law.
Right.
Got into Binghamton. I was doing a law track. Political science. They had this specially designed course for like lawyer people.
Mm-hmm.
I vibe well with the lawyer people, but I just didn't like what I was learning. It was just too like book based and very like rigid. I didn't really appreciate it as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got tired and bored of it. I was an RA. I was like one of the younger RAs in Binghamton, because I was already doing RA shit, which is a resident assistant.
Yeah. Most people in college would know. It's like anyone in the dorms, there's like someone kind of watching over the people in the dorms, known as an RA. Right.
So I didn't know what, what's funny? I'm going to go on a tangent right quick. I was so used to order in a living space.
Right.
And I had some, I guess you want to call it sweet mates or whatnot, who were like not orderly. So I would write like notes in the bathroom. Hey guys, clean up after yourself, like after shaving and stuff like this. I didn't grow facial until like my mid 20s, to be honest with you. I didn't really have much, but I was like, guys, you gotta clean up after yourself. So my RA at the time, his name is Mikhail Rafailov. I'll give him a shout out. He's a great guy. He was like, oh, Shamarie, you should consider becoming an RA. I was like, what the fuck is an RA? He was like, that's what I am. We monitor the floors. And I was like, listen, if it's not going to put me in a position where I can affect change, I don't want to do RA. DA, RA, I don't care. He said, you would be able to do that. So I did it right off the bat. Sociology now, how that came to be is that got bored of the political science track and had went to the registrar's office, and also the financial aid office, because I was like, I gotta change my major. I gotta figure this shit out. And I made a call to my father at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna drop out of school. And he was like, don't drop out of school. He said, no. He said, you came this far, don't drop out. A person like you shouldn't drop out. Just go ahead and get the paper. That was like the mentor. Just go ahead and get the paper. I was like, no, I want to drop out, because I realized the registrar's office and the financial aid department, they're right across from each other. This is a business. I said, this is a business, bro. So I was like, you know what? I'll do this. just to get the paper because I could just figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to do something that is that I enjoy. So I looked at the course listing. I think that's what they call it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at all the courses that stood out to me. And I just went like, I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that, I like how this sounds, I like how that sounds. And it all cross-listed as sociology, political science, and anthropology. Those are like the three main cross listings, but most of it was sociology. So I was like, you know what? I'll declare sociology as a major and a minor in Spanish. So I did study abroad in Spain. So I did spend some time out in Spain. So I was like, okay, yeah, let me just do this. So I did it, and it was great because my grades were like great. I was like nearly a 4.0 student in fucking sociology. Like I didn't even have to. I would read fast because I enjoyed the material.
Right.
I would hold study sessions in Bardo Library. So Bardo Library is where
you would
hold study sessions. Yeah, and I would have like all my classmates because everyone hated sociology because it's kind of, it could get convoluted. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
it could get kind of tricky, but I love that. You know what I mean? Because you know, it pulls in from different disciplines, it pulls in from different, you know, thoughts, and you have to kind of create a story or some sort of a picture of what's happening in our day-to-day reality. So sociology is where I ended up. And after graduating now, I told myself, hey, I know that most folks got a degree so that they could get a job. I told myself, I'm just going to figure it out. And so after graduating, I ended up in restaurants.
Okay.
And restaurants is a cool space. It's a cool dynamic because, again, like what I saw when I found out was that you can experience culture through the food and also the peoples that come in, right? Could you imagine, like, you're in the West Village, New York City, you have so many different people coming into a Mexican restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not everyone is Mexican coming in. The food you're serving is like sort of authentic Mexico City food, and you having to explain the story of what Mexican food is. You know what I mean? And then you have people that's from other parts.
Did you first work at a Mexican restaurant? What was your first restaurant?
Oh shit, Ruby's Bar and Grill.
Ruby's Bar and Grill. It's not the same as the Ruby's today.
It's the same Ruby's as that's on Coney Island.
Oh, in Coney Island.
Yes.
Okay, so your first job was in Coney Island?
My first restaurant job was in Coney Island.
Oh, okay. Because there's a Ruby's right around here in the West Village. There's another in the East Village, another in Murray Hill, but I think they're different.
They're different. Yeah,
they're different.
So Ruby's, I'm gonna tell a story. I guess we could cut and splice this or whatever.
Oh, do your thing.
Yeah. So cool. The cool thing is, like, you know, in high school, Mr. Levine. So math class, I loved. Now I'm not a mathematician, but certain math is I'm good at, like algebra, like geometry. That shit is like easy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't take notes. Mr. Levine, and so me and my friend Angel, we were good at geometry and all that other stuff, algebra. We didn't take notes in class, and we were the leaders. We always got like A's in high. Always got A's. Always. It was a big competition between me. Like, we didn't have to study. Mr. Levine was like, guys, you have to take notes. At least show the class that you're taking notes, because they're going to copy you. They're not as talented as you guys to just look at shit and figure it out. So eventually got an A in his class. Mr. Levine, at the end of the semester, was like, Shamarie, I like your character. I like, you know, a friend of mine is hiring at a restaurant in Coney Island. I was like, okay. I was like, I do need a summer job. He was like, yeah, just go. Just tell him I sent you. In my mind, I'm like, no, I gotta represent this man like well. So I showed up the first day to the interview, like suited up. Yeah, my suit was not the best suit, but it was just like, you know, and it was very stiff. And we're in a boardwalk of people half naked, running up and down. And I was like, I'm here. I'm Shamarie McDonald. I'm here for Mr. Livy. And they were like, guy, they was like, okay, you know, you're hired already.
That's a good impression. Yeah.
They said, you're hired already. I was like, no, but I want to let you know about myself. And then they gave me like my 5 minutes to talk about myself. And they said, okay, come tomorrow. And then like, so that's where I started off. Like, you know what I mean? And then Mr. Levine, he called me the next day. He was like, Shamarie, I heard. And he put like, he was like laughing. He was like, what? Why did you go? He said, you're already hired. I was like, nah, but I have to make a good impression because, come on, I can't disrespect you.
Yeah.
So we always had like a good bond.
That says a lot about you.
Yeah. He's, I don't know. I respect Mr. Levine a lot, man. I learned a lot from him. I love his vibe. Anyway, so that's what got me started in the restaurant industry. And then from there, what's funny is that one of my coworkers at that time, he was an alumni of Binghamton. I didn't know what Binghamton was still, even at that time. So Miss Kerrian Smith, and then you have this, I forgot his name, man. It's been so long. He was like, oh, Binghamton. He was a part of the, what is that sport called when they have the bat? Lacrosse. He was a part of the lacrosse team. The little
sticks.
Thing.
Like
the stick thing, yeah. My sister used to play lacrosse. I should know this. Sorry, Cache. That's her name. So yeah. So from there now, what's funny is that I would serve people. I love being on the front line because I could take the orders, and then like we didn't have a functional cash register, so we had to do the math in our mind. I was good at that. I was comfortable with it, I should say. Then, lo and behold, I saw my art teacher, Miss Bradley. I was serving her. She said, Shama, what are you doing here? I was like, well, Mr. Levine. She's like, Mr. Levine hooked you up with this job? I was like, yeah. She said, you know, you should check my friend's restaurant out in the West Village.
Oh.
Called Lapa Lapa Rocola. That was the name of it. It's no longer in existence. But it's on 6th Avenue over there, right? Not too far. She was like, yeah, go check it out. It's a restaurant. I was like, but I'm working on it. She said, yes.
But it's a little nicer, yeah.
She said, you need to be working in that kind of a space. And then I was like, okay. So I did the interview and thing at the Mexican restaurant.
That was called what?
Lapa Lapa.
Lapa Lapa. Yeah. Okay.
So LA and then Palapa.
So your restaurant experience, I know you have some other work experience in sales, particularly in the finance world, but the restaurant experience seems to excite you more. And eventually you got super excited about the wine aspect of the restaurant industry, and you're a sommelier, correct?
Yeah, sommelier, yeah.
What level are you?
Quarter master certified sommelier.
Certified. So you're certified. You don't have to retake the test. You're like, because like the first level of sommelier is like you have to retest every couple of years, right? To keep it.
I you know what? I should know that, but I don't know because Scott Carney, he's my mentor. He sort of trained us to this. He trained us at an advanced level. So the way it works with the Court of Master Sommelier, there's 4 levels. Okay. First level is like beginners or like entry. Right. And then you have the second level, which is certified sommelier, and then you have advanced, right? And then you have master som. So there's maybe like 300 in the world, so like right now. Right. And then you have advanced som, and then you have certified som. So he trained us at an advanced level, and I'm still in contact with him. In fact, we're going to be having beer soon. We're overdue for that.
What's his name?
Scott Carney.
Scott Carney.
Yeah,
So tell me about this. What intrigued you to take your next step to get the sommelier certification? And how'd you meet Scott? What was the process like? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so working in restaurants over time, seeing the cultural aspects and the people and how I found that very engaging. If you're in a space, just imagine you're in the forest, you know what I mean? After a time, you're going to start seeing things that stand out to you. Everyone is different. Some people might be interested in flowers. Some people may be interested in like tree stumps. Some people may be salamanders that's running around. Right. What stood out to me was the wine aspect. At first, I didn't really believe in this whole wine business. Yeah. I thought it was like wine schmine. Yeah, people are just creating notes and figuring shit out. Like, this is just bullshit. They're just trying to sell us this to sell us alcohol. It hit me one day. I was like, okay, I do sense the mushroom undergrowth in this Pinot Noir. Oh, okay, I can see a difference between the body of this wine and that wine. Oh, there's stories behind this. Oh, this Pinot Noir comes from where and who? and it connects people. So I saw the connectivity aspect of wine. I saw the whole story behind wine, and I found that very engaging. That's what drew me in.
What made it hit? Was there a particular wine? Was it somebody in the industry coming to a restaurant and explaining a story to you? You said it was one day, like something hit.
Yes. So working at John George's Spice Market, which is, it used to be in the Meatpacking District.
Right.
We used to have a lot of wine people. Wine motherfuckers come. Wine motherfuckers. We would call them wine motherfuckers. They're just selling wine because it's a big restaurant. We would have over 1,200 covers every single night. 1,200 people that would come in.
It was massive.
2 floors. So imagine if you place wine there, you're probably going to be going on a lot of vacations, right? As a wine seller, right?
Yeah.
And I was one of the service trainers. I trained the staff, essentially.
Okay.
And I look back, it was just kind of silly because I was just telling people, oh, wine, it doesn't, like, I wouldn't say it wouldn't matter, but they're just making up stories. They're just selling.
Right.
This guy came in with a Pinot Noir. And this is the story I was mentioning. Like,
right.
I started noticing.
What was the Pinot? Do you remember?
I don't remember at all.
You don't remember the Pinot?
I don't remember. And I look back in my memory. I remember the bottle, like how it was shaped.
Yeah. You don't remember the producer or anything about it?
And like, I'm looking, like, there's been so many. I was like, yo, it hit. And then right after that, funny enough, I was reading about Portuguese wines at the time. And I was so fascinated with like how the Portuguese wines would always pull me in.
Right.
Why? Because of their winemaking method at the time. It was like they merged the old world making of wine and like new world aspects and like kind of meshed. And it was also esoteric. It was an esoteric wine world where like a lot of people weren't really talking about it. Mm-hmm. And I guess I would say I'm drawn to like the esoteric and the exotic. Maybe because my background, like Jamaica, like we do have a lot of exotic fruit plants and things like this.
Yeah,
so I think
absolutely.
Maybe that drew me in. So at that time, this was like 2012 or so, I would go to a lot of Portuguese wine tastings. Mm-hmm. Wines of Portugal was here in New York at that time. I had went to a lot of like rooftop vintage port wine tastings, met a lot of like influential people and like learned. Listen, I was not an expert at that time, but I was learning a lot just by osmosis, just learning shit. Like, oh, I'm gonna pull this from this guy. I was taking notes like a nerd. No disrespect. Like a nerd, I was like, oh, let me just write this note down, Pam, and like kind of recite things and try to remember as much as I can. This was 2012. So that's what kind of got me into the wine world. It was the kickoff with that Pinot Noir. I'm like, there is something in these wines. And then the lure and the attraction of Portuguese wine, that is what kind of drew me in even like further, to the extent where like, what I would say is like I have a respect for the established wines. So that's like the 18 noble grapes, your Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc, these things. I have a respect, Cabernet Sauvignon. I have a respect for that. I'm drawn to the esoteric. I'm drawn to the exotic. Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful thing about wine is that there's so much to try. Mm-hmm. And typically the esoteric is where you're going to find new experiences, right?
Absolutely.
You're going to taste new flavors you may have not tasted before. Mm-hmm. Any wines in particular that have given you like a really impressionable flavor or like something that you've been like, whoa, this is it. Like do you have a favorite?
I don't.
You don't?
And I try not to. That sounds weird. But there's a flavor profile that I, Shamarie, like.
What's that profile?
I tend to like aromatic and expressive.
Okay.
So like Gewürztraminer.
Yeah, I love Gewürztraminer.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the lychee, the rose, like that. Like expressive things that sing. I call it sing. It shouts at you.
Okay.
As of late, and I do like savory wines. I like wines that like savory or like maybe have more like earthy or like spice.
Yeah.
So for instance, like Lista Negro from the Canary Islands.
Okay. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. So like they're doing some interesting things in the Canary Islands, right? Mm-hmm. But Lista Negro, that's what I'm drinking these days. When it comes to red, typically and this is on file, right? This is on record. Red wines I like to enjoy with food. Mm-hmm. Seldom you'll see me just walking around with a red wine glass, only because it does put me to sleep. I read somewhere that somehow there's naturally occurring what is the thing that puts you to sleep? There's like
melatonin.
Melatonin.
Okay.
There's naturally occurring melatonin in the skins of red wine.
In the tannin, huh?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. And if anything, that's a natural sedative, right? So that's if you want to go to bed, if you want to go to sleep soundly, drink some red wine. All right. Yeah, so I tend to enjoy it with like food, like your pastas, anything that's like rich and so on. I like red wines for that. White wines I tend to drink this every day. It's like my everyday and is also my go-to. So yeah, those are the two like things that are expressive. But also too, I like wines that have a story behind it.
Yeah.
Now I go to wine tastings and I want to hear like, okay, some wine. To be quite frank, there's a lot of wine varietals I haven't heard about. I think that's the case with most people, and that's okay. As you mentioned before, like you gotta explore and like you get to see different things.
Yeah.
I like wines with a story behind it. There's a lot of interesting things coming from like Greece, Cyprus.
Yeah,
bro. Like those names, like Zinisteri, Vertsami.
Right.
What do like? Tell me.
Most people don't know. I don't know them. I'm sure most people don't know them. That's where you really experience wine, I believe, when you try things like that.
Yeah. They have shit that's growing in like all right, even in Brazil. I was in Brazil.
Yeah, let's get to that.
Oh,
I know that
God.
excites you a ton. Let's talk about Brazil.
Oh man, I wanna get some more wine.
Oh yeah, here we go.
All right. So what do we edit this? Like how you?
No, I'm gonna keep it in. I'll probably edit some parts, but.
Damn. Thank you. No, thank you, man. Like this is you're asking great. You know, yeah, because now I'm just like I'm not. It's not. I didn't script anything. This is all like.
Yeah, it's all off the top.
Damn. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Salud.
If you want more, just let me know. But I know we only have like probably 15 minutes left.
15 minutes. Oh, how long do you keep?
It's 1:45.
It's 1:45.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. All right. Cool.
So let's get into Brazil, because I know Brazil. That really excites you, and partly because it reminds you a lot of Jamaica, right? Yeah. And I know you love the wines there, right?
I do.
Yeah, especially the sparkling wines.
Yeah.
So I know you recently had a trip there. Tell me about your experience in Brazil, and tell me about why the wine is so good there.
Okay, so by no means am I an expert with like Brazilian wines. In fact, it's a very, what they would call like a nascent industry relative to other countries like you'd say your France and...
everybody knows French, Italian, California wines.
Come on.
This is at least in the States, it's a very unexplored area.
100%. And with that being said, again, me going back to being, attracted to the esoteric and exotic, Brazil, in many ways, it's such a large country. It's big. It's about the size of the United States. I haven't been to all of the United States myself. Mostly the Eastern Seaboard. I have a lot of family and friends up and down the Eastern Seaboard. I've been to the West Coast, once. Brazil is as large as the U.S. Why I say that? It's just a lot of shit going on. We know about the Rio. We know about, Sao Paulo. We know about Bahia, which is beautiful. We know about these places, but a lot of untapped, uncharted territory for us, for me at least, I should say.
Right. Massive country.
The wine, I didn't know about the wine until 2 years ago.
Okay. You tried at Temperance? You tried something?
No, I was having a conversation with a friend that I met on an app.
Okay.
Thank you for technology. You can meet people.
You meet new people for sure. Yeah.
And she was impressed. Now she's in Brazil. She lived in Brazil at the time, in Salvador, in Bahia, where all the culture is from. She was like, I'm in the restaurant industry. Do you know that us Brazilians, we have great wines? I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, you guys don't got no fucking wine. She said, how dare you say that? And she said it in such a stern way. I was like, get the fuck out of here. You don't got shit. Oh my God. She put me on my ass. She gave me a whole bunch of evidence and so on. And it woke me up. I was like, hold on, they actually do have wine? So then I started going to New York City to explore. They do have a few wine shops here that have Brazilian wine. In fact, the south of Brazil has great sparkling wine. And I love sparkling wine.
Me too.
That's if anything, that is my water.
Yeah.
Bottom line, when it comes to water, that's my thing. I say it's a drink for the kings, right?
Yeah.
So sparkling wine. So when she mentioned sparkling, I was like, let me just research this. Indeed. So I found a bottle here in New York City, and I started drinking it. I was like, shit, this thing is really good. Granted, I've been my family in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
The UK has great sparkling wine as well.
Right. Champagne, a lot of producers are growing in UK now.
In the UK. And I was like, cause my cousin, he used to live in Kent, nearby Kent. He lived in Canterbury, but Kent is not, so he was like, oh shit, Shamarie, I know you like wine. So we'd go to these wine kiosks. Cause wine, it's just like whatever. They call it British bubbly. I think that's the nickname for it. British fizz. That's the nickname for it, British fizz. So I was like, okay, got it. Boom. But then Brazil, the way the wine growing method is I'm like, this is interesting. What I learned later on is that they use the same French growing methods. Mm-hmm. The ancestral, they use,
second fermentation in the bottle.
Yes.
Okay.
So I thought that was like amazing. I'm like, wow, in the south of Brazil. I was like, oh my God. And that's where my affinity like kind of started, right?
Wow.
And then after going to Brazil now, seeing the people, the vibrant culture, and also like how that intermarried and integrated with like there's so much sophistication there because you have like so many different cultures being meshed together. You have like this vibrant, strong, like Italian culture when it comes to like say the wine, or because that's really where a lot of wine growing methods. And then you have like strong like African culture like on the north side, and then you have like Japanese. You have like so many different things that people are putting into this freaking country, and it's just like sensory overload to the point where like you cannot feel like. You have to feel elated like after a time because it's like fuck, anywhere you go you're gonna get like the best of it because they're gonna like they don't hold back. It's like, hey, listen, we again that same sentiment of like life is for living, and like so with Brazil now I definitely want to explore that more because again like when it comes to food culture and like samba, the fucking music and the baila funk. Energy is just a lot of energy, man, that you feel. I went to a fucking restaurant in Rio de Janeiro, and I mean the music was they had American R&B and jazz going on in the background, but so much like Brazilian soul in it. And then you have like it was Japanese food. We were doing sushi, and then you have like the Brazilian bubbly. Jesus Christ. The guy noticed that I was a sommelier because I was asking like pointed questions, and he came by and like started explaining wine. I said, "You don't need to explain the wine." And then he started tasting on all this different kind of fucking wine. And I was like, "Damn, I love this thing. I love this world." So that I don't know. That's where I'm at with that, man.
That's incredible, man. I could feel how much you love it. So next time you go, let me know because my brother's been there and he also had an amazing experience and he wants to go back. So maybe we could like figure out a trip. But I want to talk about what you're doing now. So as we mentioned, you do your sales, you have a sales experience in Primerica, but you're now taking that into the wine industry. You have a company you just started called Obrigado Wines.
Yes.
It's a marketing company. Can we talk about that? You've been repping and finding some placements for Bedford, of course.
Yes.
We're in Savvy Bistro, right?
Yes. Yep.
What was that other place that we opened? The Jamaican spot.
Yes. So in Negro Village, we're gonna start working there in Negro Village.
Yeah. No, it was the
the Tings.
Big Tings. Yeah. So tell me about that. How's that going? Are you pumped to like keep it going? Is this like?
Yeah. So
tell me about it.
So with Obrigado Wines, like the whole, again, going back to the whole bedrock of like esoteric and keeping things, exotic and things of this nature. That's what inspired the name Obrigado Wines.
Which is thank you. In Portuguese, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is thank you. And so the people that I connect with, again, this is more of like a connective tissue. This company is there to spread my fascination of wines that I enjoy, mm-hmm. and that I see potential in. So anything that that's within the catalog, that's in the portfolio, is things that I believe in, things that make sense. As I mentioned before, I have a respect for the established wines. So that's your 18 noble grapes. And I also have a curiosity and like wanting to go into the exotic wines. So hence the reason why I created Obrigado Wines, to kind of like, kind of have a have a business that allows me to connect with restaurant owners as well as, wine shops and things of this nature.
Right. And you've been doing that. You've been meeting a lot of new people.
And what it does is that people want to know what do I offer other than being a wine sommelier. My humble opinion, I'm not a wine sommelier. I'm a holistic sommelier. And what does that mean is that why I got into wines, as I mentioned before, is a cultural aspect of it and like learning. But the connective tissue, I see it as being like a connective tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it connects people. It connects. It brings harmony and brings people together. Now, of course, overindulgence in anything is not good. If you drink too much water, you can die, right? So the same thing with wine or alcohol or anything.
Yeah.
So anything is too much, right? But
not too much sparkling wine. That's how you hydrate.
That's how you have to hydrate. Anyway,
yeah. No, but absolutely, yeah. I feel you on that.
So the reason why I mention this is because, we can get into the technical aspects of wine all night long. I mean, that's why you have ChatGPT. You could do that all night long if you want to know wine. But by the end of the day, when it all comes down, is like usually people are drawn to wine for like one or two reasons. It could just be the texture of the wine. Mm-hmm. It could be, I don't know. And the same thing, but they say even cannabis. I was at a cannabis event. It could be like the fact that, there's cannabis. Yeah, you can experience it as like a smoking thing, but it makes clothes. It makes medicine. It makes teas. It does so many different things. And some people are tea lovers, avid tea lovers. They love tea.
I love tea. I've been getting into tea.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So and they have a whole industry like cannabis teas and the different levels of this and this cannabinoid and this ester and things that I don't really. But it's curious. It's good.
Right.
It connects people and also is medicinal.
Right. I think that's like the gist of what you mean by a holistic somm, right? Mm-hmm. The connection, the conversation that comes with wine, the conversation that comes with tea and cannabis and all the things you could learn about it, the things you could learn about where it was grown, why that area has made it this specific way, the culture behind the people growing it.
Sure.
All these things are what intrigued me about wine, and I'm sure that's what makes you feel like you're not just a sommelier, you're a holistic sommelier. So that's super interesting. Thanks for sharing. I feel like I have so much more I want to talk about, so much more like regarding your experience becoming a somm and this and that, but I know we only have a few minutes left because you have your next meeting today. So one thing I like to ask everybody, this is the Better Road podcast.
Better Road.
Can you tell me one thing, part of your lifestyle that makes you better or improves the quality of your life, or just something that you enjoy to do? Can you share that with the audience?
Whoa. That's a great question. And I'm buying time by saying that's a great question. I am. I'm doing that purposefully. But really and truly, what gives me life is, and working towards creating spaces where I can invite family and friends to enjoy nature and life.
Okay.
Also, too, meeting new people that I can learn from, learn different experiences.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm very rooted in like Jamaica, and I think that's why I like Brazil. I say that a lot. I mention it a lot. I'm also fascinated and curious about other people's roots. Yeah. Yes, I like that, and there's an interconnectivity like there too. Because when people tell us, I'm like, I can see that. I can feel it. I never heard it from this. But that stuff excites me.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
What I like doing is again, like having conversations. People say, what do you do? I'll go to a wine bar, I'll go to a coffee spot and just have a conversation with someone. That kind of stuff, or even walk in a park.
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff. Or even fucking somebody be like, hey, Shamarie, there's this event that's going on. I want you to come along, or I want you to be like the event I was at, the cannabis event. I was a VIP guest.
Yeah.
They said you're the VIP. I said, I guess I am VIP. I was invited. They said, yeah, you sit in the front. There's your name tag. I was like, I took it off. Yeah. They said, oh, there you go. I was like, okay, great. And just being a part of the larger whole, like that if any way I can contribute, even if it's like me telling a story of someone else that I know and like adding to the whole picture, like I really enjoy that. I don't know if
that's beautiful, man. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. Meeting new people, being a part of the larger whole.
Yeah, those
are great concepts. I do have to follow up though. You said creating spaces for your people, family, friends. What do you mean by that?
So in Jamaica right now, currently, I have land there.
Oh wow!
I have land.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and a lot of it's family land that was passed down. So we've been in Jamaica as a family from the 1600s.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're not like day before yesterday.
Jamaica you guys got your roots deeply in there.
Yeah. So
you have this land, and what are you doing with it? Are you creating like a home, or are you creating like a field of like a farm? What exactly are you doing with it?
Yeah.
I know you have something in mind, because that's what you mentioned.
So just know that when we speak about resorts and when we speak about safe havens and places where people can learn and grow and connect, that's what I have in mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you don't have to share too much, but that's amazing. I love to see where your mind's going and see where that goes. I think that would be awesome.
Yes.
That's really cool. I didn't know you had land there, so
yeah,
that's amazing.
100%, especially it's beautiful, man. Like it's, I don't want to get too emotional.
I can see
for no reason, but it's a very special place.
That's amazing.
It's a very special place.
Well, every idea starts in the head, mm-hmm. and then it becomes a reality. So whatever you're thinking about, I can't wait to see it happen.
Yes.
So that was great. Thanks for sharing.
Yes.
Anywhere somebody watching this could connect with you, if they're looking to reach out to you, maybe follow you on social medias, what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, the best way to reach out to me is on social media. I'll also share my phone number. I'm not particularly crazy about sharing that kind of stuff. So social media, my Instagram handle is Shamarie IM. I'm going to spell it for you right now. That's XAMARIE_IAM. And my phone number is area code 917-755-9742. I love WhatsApp. So if you have WhatsApp, hit me up on WhatsApp. I love WhatsApp. So yeah. So again, my phone number is area code 917-755-9742. Bless up.
That's amazing, man. Thank you for sharing. Now, this is a network, so anyone else you might think of come to mind that should come on the show?
Anyone else that I think should come on the show? Oh my God. I was thinking about Buju Banton. Like, Buju Banton is a reggae singer.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not in New York anymore. I would call him. Yeah, I would say there's two people in mind, actually. There's a guy named Esteban.
Yeah, I know Esteban.
Yeah, Esteban. From Temperance.
Okay, cool.
He's full of energy and vibe. And he's a good person to connect with. And also Brian from
Temperance.
From Temperance.
Okay.
He's a good guy to connect with as well. I like his mentality and how he thinks. He's very he's a long-term thinker.
Okay.
So yeah, those two people are great people to connect with.
Awesome. Esteban, Brian, I'd love to have you on here. Thank you everybody for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and take care. Peace.